In a historic and unprecedented move, the World Court has ordered South Africa's parliament in a binding decree to arrest veteran ANC politician Gad Mantashe. The late-night news Thursday sent shockwaves across the country, fueling intense political debates about sovereignty, accountability, and the dignity of South Africa's political process. Based on the court statement, Mantashe is involved in a string of suspected high misbehaviors, corruption plots, and misconducts in public office that eroded democratic governance and public confidence in the nation. Legal experts have characterized the case as one of the gravest ever laid against a sitting or ex-political figure in South Africa, with far-reaching implications that could redefine the country's political landscape for years to come. The response in Parliament was instantaneous, incandescent, and unprecedented. Insiders within the National Assembly say there was a tableau of complete pandemonium as MPs struggled to comprehend the extent of the court order. ANC MPs were said to have sought to mobilize in support of Mantashe, appealing for calm, calling for restraint and pushing for a review of the order in accordance with the law. Opposition parties like the EFF, DA, and various smaller formations reacted with strong criticism, demanding that the arrest be carried out forthwith to protect the rule of law and to demonstrate that no one is above the law. Eyewitnesses within the chamber described shouting, finger-pointing, and threats of walkouts controlling the floor. Some MPs were witnessed banging their desks in frustration, while others insisted on an emergency vote on measures of compliance. Security officers were brought in to keep order, although insiders report that tensions remained high for hours as verbal exchanges turned into near-violent confrontations. Parliamentary processes, typically scrupulous and bureaucratic, buckled under the pressure of the crisis. The House Speaker wrestled repeatedly to try to take charge, but the weight of history surrounding the occasion rendered agreement virtually unthinkable. At one point, a reported opposition MP called out the ANC as protecting criminals while the country is watching in horror, eliciting an angry response from allies of Mantashe. The comment said witnesses evoked a shouting melee that further stalled proceedings. The order has fundamental legal and constitutional implications. Although South Africa is a signatory to a number of international conventions, the enforcement of an international court ruling on a national political leader is unprecedented. Constitutional law commentators indicate possible tensions between domestic and international law obligations. Others believe that compliance would unleash a political and constitutional crisis by establishing a precedent of foreign intrusion into domestic governance. Others fear that non-compliance would erode South Africa's global reputation and credibility and bruise its image as a nation that upholds the rule of law. The challenge here is ginormous, declared one top constitutional law professor in an interview shown on television. South Africa has never been in a case where Parliament itself is being ordered to carry out an arrest by a foreign body. All the choices taken in the coming 48 hours may redefine the balance of powers in our democracy. If Parliament stands firm, it may come across as a sanctuary for political impunity. If it acts, it could precipitate a constitutional crisis. Public response has been immediate and vociferous. The news of the order has ignited heated debate nationwide, flowing from dining tables to radio talk shows and social media. Hashtags #ArrestMantashe and #RuleYourFloor also trended globally within hours of the announcement. Activists and civil society groups have added their voices to the call for quick action, saying that any delay will further undermine public confidence in government institutions already badly damaged by decades of scandal. This is a moment of truth for South Africa's democracy. A well-known anti-corruption activist said, "If Parliament delays, it sends a message that the powerful are above the law." However, not everyone is urging Parliament to comply immediately. Mantashe's allies, including some ANC veterans and influential provincial politicians, believe that the order is an overreach by international institutions and an infringement on national sovereignty. They say that the action has the potential to create a bad precedent where foreign courts start to feed into local politics, destabilizing tenuous democratic processes. Some of Mantashe's supporters have gone even further, implying the order is politically timed to discredit the ANC before future elections. Globally, the arrest order is presented as a turning point for international justice. The move was described by analysts as marking a new era when even influential political leaders can be held to account on the world stage. Some international news sources are framing the story as a dramatic challenge to South Africa's resolve to combat corruption and respect global standards. Foreign diplomats and observers have been placed in close dialogue with South African officials and international legal authorities said to be monitoring developments. Some foreign governments have complained in private that non-compliance could strain South African diplomatic ties and trade arrangements in Pretoria. Meanwhile, the ANC summoned an emergency meeting of its National Executive Committee (NEC) to debate the meaning of the court ruling. Sources say internal splits within the party have already started to emerge, with pro-reform groupings calling for compliance to avoid damaging South Africa's image and hardliners calling for defiance and a tougher line against what they perceive as foreign meddling. The NC is likely to be acrimonious, with party veterans threatening that the ANC's reaction would decide its destiny as a ruling party. Outside Parliament, regular South Africans are struggling with emotions of anger, disappointment, and confusion. Many interpret the court directive as vindication for years of widely held distrust of corruption by top government officials. Others fear the crisis could complicate existing political and economic instability. Businesses and investors are closely observing, worried that extended instability might affect markets and set back economic recovery efforts already strained by high unemployment and infrastructure breakdowns. The media have also jumped on the bandwagon, with front pages everywhere having headlines announcing a day of reckoning for the ANC and the political establishment in South Africa. Editorials have called on Parliament to move with speed, presenting the decision as one not merely about Gwantes but about wider issues of justice and accountability. If Parliament blinks now, one columnist wrote, it will confirm the worst fears of a nation that too often has seen the mighty go unpunished. This crisis also highlights the wider international debate regarding sovereignty and the position of international courts. South Africa's decision whether to respect the order or not may have implications for how other countries deal with comparable situations in the future. Legal experts note that the nation has boasted of its constitutional democracy and independent judiciary. Any such failure to live up to its international responsibilities may tarnish the reputation of both.